Hello, my name is Danielle Andreae, and this Reading Literacy Center is based on the book Giraffes Can't Dance by Giles Andreae with illustrations by Parker-Rees. And this is designed for higher level second grade learners who really have that deep understanding and can make text to thought connections and really get a deep understanding and make predictions from what is not explicitly stated in the text. So in this Reading Literacy Center, which will be presented in a bucket such as this with all the materials the students need, the students will be asked to complete a flow chart. So the flow chart will be the sequence of events from the story, which is pulled directly from the story. They'll start out with that, and this will be the first thing they complete in the center. So they'll include details of what happens at the beginning, what happens in the middle, what happens at the end, the conclusion, any sub-details that they need to include in there. And then once they complete that, they'll move on to the higher order thinking of it, where they will take a blank piece of paper, and the students will be asked to create an illustration, such as the ones in the story, of what they think might happen after the story ends based on the details that they identified in their flowchart. So at the end of the story, if their flowchart says that Gerald was a great dancer and everyone was really excited, maybe everyone in the jungle convinces him to open a dance school so that they can all learn how to dance also like him. Just whatever the students think might happen afterwards, as long as they can back up those claims with details from the story and make that connection and not just kind of pull stuff out of thin air, which is where the higher order thinking really comes into play on this. And in this bucket there are also colored pencils for them, there's crayons for them, watercolor paints, even chalk and different items like that, so they can really get creative and really use their imagination to create that illustration and make the connection between their flowchart and also their own predictions of what will happen later on in the story. So this center is based on the second grade English standard that reads, "Use information gained from illustrations and words in a print or digital text to demonstrate understanding of its characters, setting, or plot." So when they first fill out that flowchart, they're going to use the information, they're going to use the words and the pictures and all the information in the text and the plot of the story and fill that out on their flowchart, which is where that standard comes into play. And then after that, they're going to address those higher order thinking skills and really let their imagination fly and really get involved with it. And then after that, they're going to be asked to share that information with a shoulder buddy or someone else in the class who's finished with theirs also. Share that information just to get that student interaction going also. So the idea behind the flowchart was actually Pat Wolf identified the many benefits of thinking maps such as that one, and our brain is organized in a way that we like the information set out in front of us in a way that's easy to read and understand and make connections and see those connections written out in front of us. So I think that flow map really helps. And I actually got the template for that flow map from Cedar Ridge School in Minnesota, and they have so many different thinking maps that are available, and this one really addressed the higher order thinking that I was looking for, making that connection after they had filled out that flow map and seen all the details of the story so that they can make the connection with their own thought processes. And according to an article by Just Read Florida, these reading literacy centers really increase meaningful connections in the text, which is really important for students who are already at that high level. They want to keep up those meaningful connections and have it organized and have everything laid out in front of them in a way that's really easy for them to understand. And there's also a rubric for this center, and there are 4 categories, each worth 25 points, totaling a total of 100 points. So there's organization, student knowledge, neatness of illustration, and creativity. And category 1, there's 4 categories in each section. Category 1 is 0 to 6 points, Category 2 is 7 to 13 points, Category 3 is 14 to 19 points, and Category 4 is 20 to 25 points. So in the organization category, if the student was organized, they'll receive full credit. If they were less organized and kind of all over the place with their flow map, they receive less credit for that, and they would score lower on the scale. The student knowledge section is based on the flow map, the information in it. Did they pull the correct information from the beginning, the middle, the end? Did they get it in the correct order? Was their knowledge of pulling from the book on point, or was it lacking where they need some further instruction in that area? And if that was the case, they would score lower on the scale instead of higher on the scale. The neatness of the illustration, that's an important part. If the student doesn't really put any effort into it, they'll score lower on the scale, whereas if they put more effort into it, they'll score higher on the scale and do well in that section. Lastly, the creativity. Did they really use their imagination and create a text to thought connection where they use the details to create their own wild imagination and really get creative with the assignment, rather than maybe just taking kind of the ending of the story, altering it a little bit? Or if that's the case, they would score in the 2 or 3 section area. Or if they use totally their own imagination, they would score full points on that. And if they really couldn't come up with an alternative scenario, they would score in the category 1 of that section. So this is all really important for the students and those higher level thinkers to get involved and get their thought moving and brain going for these type of activities.